Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and for those of you that have not been watching it, if you go onto my YouTube channel, there's a stories section that is a new thing that YouTube's doing, and I've been posting short videos with music over them of me doing different things, like grilling out. Last night I was cooking hamburgers. I showed my sons hitting baseballs. I'm doing different things. I've even shown you the different marinades that I use when I'm cooking different things. It's just a thing that YouTube created for further engagement with an audience. And so they told me it was a pretty cool idea, so I decided I would try it. And so I've been messing around with it. Now, I wanted to wish everybody a happy Easter. What I have been doing this morning on my Easter is something I like to do every once in a while. Many of you know who Hodor is. And Hodor is really one of the smarter people that I've seen in the XRP community over the last 2 or 3 years. Hodor went off and disappeared, which one thing, and this is just a side note, one thing I've noticed in the XRP community, there have been at least 4 to 5 or 6 people. All of them were anonymous on Twitter or doing blogs or whatever. All of them were anonymous. Some of the people who put out the most profound things are the same ones who have disappeared from the XRP community. I find that fascinating. But anyway, I decided I'd go back and look at some of Hodor's blogs. He started back in 2017, and I've been going through some of them from 2017 today because I think a lot of things that he brought up are things that I wonder when I read them, how did he even know to go in these places? And so I'm going to show you some of what I found. I've been retweeting them on Twitter, and I had put them in tweets so that I could keep it organized for a video. But first, I wanted to show you something else that I found. Remember, Barry Silbert is the CEO of the Digital Currency Group. The Digital Currency Group is probably the most connected venture capital firm in blockchain. Barry Silbert started this thing before anybody was doing anything. Well, I found something. Every once in a while, it's fun to go back and, Twitter has a search function where you can go back and you can search by a Twitter handle and you can search terms that they've used. So I went back and searched Barry Silbert's tweets, only the tweets that have XRP in them. Many of you will remember this. This was a response. There was a tweet thread. This was back in 2019, and Barry Silbert said, "Ripple, the company," and this is the same line you've heard out of people like Mike Novogratz. They all use the same lines. It's, "Oh yeah, well I'm bullish on Ripple, the company, but not so much on XRP." We've heard the same line of talk between 2018 and 2019. And it's weird because we've heard it out of people who you would think if they own Ripple the company, they'd be super bullish on XRP and Ripple the company. But you don't hear that. They won't even bring it up half of the time. Very, very, very rarely do they bring it up. So he said this: "Ripple the company is our largest investment. XRP is not on our conviction list of holdings yet. Super bullish on the company, neutral on the token as of now." In other words, I read this in 2019. I was like, well, that makes absolutely no sense. Just like what Mike Novogratz says, makes absolutely no sense. So I looked back in Barry Silbert's tweets, every tweet that he ever did on XRP, and you'll never know what I found. Now remember, this is July 16th of 2019. Well, look what he said October 27th of 2016, 3 years earlier. "I'm with you. We, Digital Currency Group, only own Bitcoin, Ripple, XRP, Ethereum Classic, and now Zcash." So the question, folks, is what happened to Barry Silbert? What did he sell all of his XRP from 2016? I seriously doubt that. And so I asked him the question on Twitter. It'll be interesting to see if he answered. I bet you he doesn't. "Hey, Barry Silbert, can you explain why XRP was not on your conviction list yet in 2019, but it was in 2016? I think that's a pretty good question. All right, so now let's move along. Let's see, what is this? Yeah, okay, that's just that tweet. And this is the other tweet. And here, okay, I wanted to show you this from, and then I'll get into the Hodor, some of the Hodor things I found. This is from Stephen Bull from the D-App, and he tweeted this today. Confirmed Commonwealth Bank of Australia and Westpac are trialing Ripple technology. Now, I don't know what this document is, but I will show you this. The major Australian banks are already investigating significantly and experimenting with distributed ledgers. The Commonwealth Bank, the National Australia Bank, and Macquarie Bank have all invested in R3, a worldwide consortium of 30 banks that is designing protocols for blockchain systems to transfer funds to each other at low cost without having to rely on central banks. The Commonwealth Bank and Westpac are also trialing Ripple technology. Okay, well, I think we knew that. I just think he found some evidence there that wasn't seen before. All right, and then Matt from Matthew Liney, he found this from 2018. This is Bank of America hosting a global payment innovation conference in 2018. Real-time payments, transformative trends, highlights Ripple and R3. Here's some cool slides that he found. 2018 Carolina's Cash Adventure Innovation and Global Payments. And this is one of their treasury product people. Here you'll see real-time payments. You'll see Zelle. Remember, founder of Zelle is at Interstellar now. API, blockchain, PayPal, globalization, demographics. Then you look at and look up here. This is Bank of America. Industry progression, live systems and pilots, Ripple, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Chain. And then you'll see all these companies we've talked about before. And then let's see. R3 was somewhere on this thing too. It seems like there was one more slide. Hold on a second. No, R3 I think is written in here. So there's Ripple, there's Earthport, consortium membership, and then maybe R3 was mentioned over here. Anyway, R3 is all in the mix. You don't have to see it. Okay, now these are the Hodor things that I wanted to bring. We got so many new people that are watching videos and coming into the space with everybody sitting at home right now because of the current events. I wanted to show you, this is my favorite thing that any of the Hodor blogs ever said. XRP 1% Club. There might be a day very soon where this 1% translates into the classical notion of the 1%, the upper echelons of personal net worth. And I didn't put the date of that blog, but it was in a Hodor blog. Okay, and then I found this one today. We will see one of these scenarios play out soon. This is from Hodor's blog on July 2017. This is not the case for Ripple. Now that Ripple is approaching what is considered to be a mature stage of a Silicon Valley startup, there are several very exciting options for raising funds to power them into the next level. Pursuing a purchase by a larger company, Google, such as Google, private IPO, public IPO. All these speculative possibilities are very exciting and in my opinion would catapult XRP price forward by a massive amount just on the announcement alone. Now he proposed this in July 2017. And then in 2020, here's what we get.
Talk to me about the raising of money and the $10 billion valuation. How do you feel about that?
You know, I think anytime you have new investors come in, you are intimidated by the expectations that are set. By the same token, Ripple today at today's XRP price owns something like 15 plus billions, I think somewhere north of $15 billion of the crypto. So in some ways, those investors came in at a discount. Look, we are in a very fortunate position to have a very strong balance sheet. We're in a very fortunate position to have a lot of customer momentum. And I think it's because we've focused on solving a real problem for real customers.
So why IPO? Why go public, to your point? If you have this money, you're raising money. What's the purpose of going public?
Well, I don't think we've said we're going to go public. I think what we've said, what I said was, I think 2020 will likely have crypto kind of blockchain IPOs. And I think what I said was, I don't think Ripple will be the first, but we certainly don't want to be the last. So I kind of kept it open-ended. I think people heard something a little bit different than that. But look, the balance sheet flexibility we have had has given us the ability to invest over $500 million across the blockchain ecosystem. That includes within XRP world, but also beyond that, because again, back to I think all boats can rise. So I think having balance sheet flexibility gives us strength to do new things. The MoneyGram deal is a deal I know you're very familiar with, where we invested about $50 million.
Okay, I'm not going to show you any more of that video. I think you get the picture. There is an IPO or something that is coming. Okay. Let's see. The next thing I found from Hoder's blogs, he understood the big picture way back when. So this is what he had tweeted. To convince the industry that its technology can reduce costs and dramatically improve settlement speed without the inherent risks in using unproven technology, Ripple knows its needs to alter the entire banking landscape. It must help governmental and regulatory organizations understand the complex technology and inner workings of distributed systems. And that's exactly what Ripple is doing step by step. It's working to help craft meaningful legislation with the U.S. Congress. It's working with the International Monetary Fund. It's working with the worldwide consortium, W3C, to create and implement the international standard for interledger communication. It's working to help draft Internet Engineering Task Force standards related to ILP. It hired 2 senior Swift executives to work for Ripple. So he was on it way back then. All right, here's another. I'm trying to go through these as fast as possible. I don't want this video to be too long. Things that make you go, Now, this is Hoder back in 2017. UN sanctions, think immutable ledger. Application of sanctions by the United Nations would carry much greater weight if world financing by the IMF could be tracked on an immutable record like the XRP ledger. Excuse me. These sanctions could force countries to stop warring against each other or to change their policies to protect civil or human rights. Well, when you see something like this that's written in 2017, it makes Ripple's recent job posting make a little bit more sense in my mind. Senior Manager, BSA, AML, and Economic Sanctions Program. So there you go. You have to wonder if Hoder knew things. You do. And then there's this. I found this while I was going through his stuff, and I wanted to show this to many of you may not know this. Ripple, back in 2017, representatives from China's central bank came to Ripple headquarters for a presentation of what Ripple was doing. For those who weren't around, and think all this IMF, central bank, world reserve, digital currency, bridge asset talk has no merit. Hashtag zero doubt. All the money, folks. All the money. This is when China's central bank came, and they were there, folks. And I Am Legion down here says it's not 1 or 2 central banks, it's them all. So here, there was an article written on it. This is Ryan Zagone and drawing a blank on his name, Stefan Thomas. Stefan Thomas and Ryan Zagone are presenting. These are China's representatives for their central bank and also scholars from China. They're being presented to by Ripple. I wanted to read this part to you. After the end of the one-day inspection trip, the delegation conducted a summary exchange of the situation at the station. The members of the delegation made speeches in order to exchange the gains from the field visits today and significance of the current situation in China. Starting from their own industries, members expressed their views on their own points of interest and directions. The discussion was frank and efficient, corrected some of the previous understandings about the current state of U.S. fintech, and discussed in depth the Chinese industry prospects and regulatory scale issues. And then there's this, folks. This is a guy from VP Global Sales of Ripple, no longer, but listen to this.
Yeah. So this question is very specific to blockchain, especially for Ripple. Like, are you guys planning to have your own private blockchain? If not, if you're going to use the public blockchain, which already has, which has known issues. At the end of the day, it's like software code. So you had the 51% attack problem. You had the quirk of transaction malleability. So are you going to have your own private blockchain or banks participating, or are you going to use the public existing blockchain?
So our technology is a little different than blockchain. It behaves like blockchain in the sense it's point-to-point confirmation of transactions, but we believe in interoperability. So our technology, Interledger Protocol, enables one blockchain to communicate or interact with another blockchain or another ledger in the context of a transaction. So to give you a specific example, let's say you want to pay to somebody who lives in China on their WeChat account from your bank account here in the US. Our technology allows you to do that. So we believe in interoperability rather than one specific ledger or one specific blockchain.
So if I understand you correctly, it's an exchange and not like an independent blockchain.
It's a protocol for payments.
Got it.
TCP/IP.
All right. he says it.
Like TCP/IP, right?
Yep.
Before that, they were individual.
Exactly.
Okay. And then from Hoder's blog, there was this. In June, an ex Ripple, and by the way, folks, Ripple employees and ex-Ripple employees do not talk to me, okay? That's part of the reason this caught my attention from Hoder's blog. In June, an ex-employee of Ripple communicated to me that he was not planning on living off of his XRP until it went up much higher, and he seemed completely confident in this assessment. While official company statements are important and can make a positive difference, sometimes hearing those sorts of comments from ex-employees can be a profound testament to Ripple's business plan and the probability that they will be able to achieve a significant level of success in their endeavors with XRP. David Schwartz, Ripple's chief cryptographer, wrote up a short piece on Reddit about different price possibilities for XRP given certain scenarios. His estimates ranged anywhere from $2 to $120, and he makes a very insightful statement near the end. Ripple equaling Bitcoin's current market cap sometime in the near future doesn't seem any more outrageous to me now than the idea of Bitcoin selling for over $1,000 seemed to me in 2012. The market may look back on this statement as a very prescient estimate of where XRP's trajectory may lie. As XRP is adopted for actual production usage by more and more banks, the current market capitalization of Bitcoin may be just a footnote in its path to exceeding all these price predictions. All right. And then there was this quote that I found in one of Hoder's blogs from David Schwartz. And it led me to the XRP chat where he posted this, and so I'll get there. Anyone who gets XRP from us as a part of some deal with a lockup has their incentives aligned with ours. They want the long-term price of XRP to go up too. And I said pre-allocation of XRP is not just some crazy theory, because it's not. But this is where David Schwartz had said that on May 25th, 2017. We start at 4. We don't target the biggest corridors like USD Euro because they're efficient. We target an inefficient but fairly high volume corridor. For example, Euro INR market makers have very small profit margins. So even a small incentive to place a good EUR, XRP INR offers can beat what banks are getting now through the correspondent banking system. Once we get one corridor, we hang other countries off each other in the corridor, expanding the reach of XRP. Now say you're a company like Seagate that pays out money all over the globe. If you have to make payments to 5 countries in our corridors, you'd rather hold one pile of XRP than 5 piles of different currencies. That increases demand. Now say you're a company like Apple with a huge pile of cash. If you want to snap up other assets cheap, you'll need to hold the asset the people selling want. If they're going into any of our corridors, they'll want XRP. So you want to hold it. If that succeeds, it could increase the price of XRP. Ripple holds a huge pile of XRP and will be the dominant XRP holder for the foreseeable future, but we're primarily VC financed and we get revenue from selling software to banks. We don't use our XRP as a bank account, but as a strategic weapon. Though we do sell some for revenue, we just don't need to for salaries or to keep the lights on. Anyone who gets XRP from us as a part, that's the quote that I just read to you. So, and then finally, I want to finish this video by showing you, I wanted to kind of sprinkle throughout my videos going forward any kind of major boards that people from Ripple are on. So today I was just going to just real quick show you some that Chris Larson's on. I've shown you this before. He's on the IMF High Level Advisory Group. And then some of you may or may not know, he's also, HSBC appointed him in 2017 to the Technology Advisory Board for HSBC Bank. He's also on the advisory board at this organization called EPIC. EPIC is a public interest research center in Washington, D.C. established in 1994 to focus public attention on emerging privacy and civil liberties issues to protect privacy, freedom of expression, and democratic values in the information age. And he is, this is him here on their thing. And finally, he's also, I can't remember what they called it, but he's at the World Economic Forum. Let's see, he's an agenda contributor at the World Economic Forum is what they call it. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe. Hit the like button. Tell your friends and family that Chris Larson is on several boards. And go back and check out some of Hoder's old blog. I think you might be interested. Thank you for listening.